Imagine two nomads wandering through a foreign desert. Abraham and Sarah are nearly a century old, carrying a divine promise that they will father a nation, yet they possess zero physical evidence to show for it. Biologically, the window for children closed decades ago. Their aging bodies are a direct, daily contradiction to the promise that their descendants will outnumber the stars. Then, the unlikely happens. Against all earthly odds, Isaac is finally born, suddenly resolving decades of agonizing tension. Sarah's reaction is pure laughter, the emotional release of a lifelong, hopeless wait finally reaching its end. Isaac is now the solitary, fragile physical embodiment of a spiritual guarantee. Everything depends on his survival. That hard-won peace is short-lived. Without warning, God shatters the quiet with an abrupt command in the 22nd chapter of Genesis. The instructions are specific. Abraham must take Isaac, his unique, promised heir, travel to Mount Moriah, and offer him as a burnt sacrifice. This creates a direct contradiction. God is asking Abraham to destroy the very son he provided to fulfill the covenant. Following this order results in the immediate end of the family line, extinguishing the promise before the first generation can even take root. The journey to Mount Moriah takes 3 days. It is a long, heavy silence between father and son, with every step toward the peak. At the base of the mountain, Isaac is given the wood to carry. He asks the one question Abraham cannot easily answer. Where is the lamb for the offering? The tension peaks at the altar. Abraham binds his son, reaches out, and raises the knife to follow through. The angel of the Lord calls out from heaven, halting the execution just as the blade is set to fall. A ram is found caught in a nearby thicket to take Isaac's place. In response to this moment, God swears an oath to multiply Abraham's descendants like the sand on the seashore. With Isaac spared and the sacrifice complete, the covenant moved from a tentative promise to a confirmed oath that would span generations. Spiritual victories do not stop the march of time. At 127 years old, Sarah dies. Abraham faces a new crisis. He is a wealthy prince among the Hittites, yet as a foreigner, he legally owns no land in which to bury his wife. The locals offer a free burial site, but Abraham refuses. He weighs out 400 silver shekels to buy the plot outright. He secures the cave of Machpelah and the surrounding field, creating a legally binding deed. This transaction transforms Abraham from a wandering guest into a legal landowner. It is the first physical acre of the Promised Land that the patriarchs truly own. As Abraham reaches the end of his life, one final vulnerability remains. Isaac is a grieving, unmarried heir living in a cultural vacuum. If Isaac marries into the local Canaanite tribes, the distinct family identity required by the covenant will dissolve into the surrounding culture. Abraham forces his senior servant into a strict oath. He must travel back to Abraham's original homeland to find a bride from his own kin. Upon reaching a well in Mesopotamia, the servant prays for a specific sign to identify the woman intended for Isaac. Securing the right bride is the final requirement to ensure the covenant continues after Abraham is gone. Rebekah appears and meets the servant's criteria exactly, volunteering to water his entire caravan of 10 camels. She mirrors Abraham's own journey, agreeing immediately to leave her family for a destiny she has not yet seen. In the Negev at dusk, Isaac is meditating alone in the fields. He looks up to see the camel caravan approaching from the horizon. Isaac brings Rebekah into his mother's tent. He takes her as his wife, ending his grief and stepping into his role as the next patriarch. Legacy is built through both faith in the unseen and specific actions in the physical world. By securing a home and an heir, Abram moved an invisible promise into a living reality.